The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
The First Lady of New York Radio, Joan Hamburg. Entertaining and informative. Talk Radio 77 WABC.
Welcome, everyone, to the Joan Hamburg Show. And I had the best time reading Chita Rivera's memoir. I can't even tell you what a fabulous trip it was through all her adventures. Her memoir holds you by the hand and pulls you along with her. Chita, you did a great job because it was so real, and I felt like we were sharing everything from the time you were a kid.
Well, I didn't want to do it at all. And that's a wonderful way to express it. I took you by the hand and I led you through my life. And so, it's for a person that is pretty private. That's an extreme way to look at it.
No, but. And you actually, with all the groundbreaking work, and I want to remind everyone that Chita, many Tonys, Kennedy Center honoree, the Dream Award, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Broadway shows, the original Anita in West Side Story. I mean, I could do nothing but read credits. It goes on and on. But to have this kind of adventure, when you finished this memoir, were you sitting back and saying, that's me, this is my life? Or it just seemed it happened and I was there?
No, that's exactly the way I felt. I sat back and I was amazed at the reminding of my life. It was a great way for me to be reminded of what had happened to me in my life, and it was a great, as I said, reminder of where I had been and what I had done. And, it doesn't happen very often that you get a second chance. And I was given a second chance.
And the people that you work with
my
were,
goodness.
Right, just starting out in those days, Fosse and Robbins.
That's right.
And you said you were private. Well, publicity and famous people, but I was like, I don't remember Sammy Davis Jr. You're having your affair. I mean, you had affairs. Honey, you were busy in your early years.
I wasn't that busy. I mean, I was sort of busy, but I met them on an artistic level, and grew into a relationship, and they were an advantage to my career. I believe that the career and the life go hand in hand, right. And besides, I feel that every single one of those people that I've met through my life enabled me to be a better person, and enabled me to be who I am today,
And to survive everything. Yeah. And I loved your alter ego. I think so many of us have it, but we don't pay attention. And Dolores, yours, I mean, sometimes really good advice and sometimes very hard on you.
Well, exactly. I mean, Dolores was brought out by Patrick Pacheco, and he reminded me that she was there, but I pushed her down as far as I could at the beginning, and then I just raised my arms and said, "Okay, I may as well just accept her." And when I did, because I was asked by a critic one time, what made you do Can in Japan after your car accident? And I said, I'm nowhere near as nice as I should be. And that is very people know, and that is Dolores.
Yeah, who
that
is
is Dolores.
Always there.
Yeah, she's always there, and thank God she is. She stands up for me. She defends me, and she makes the right decisions for me.
Right, and things like that. You refer to that car accident, a terrible, terrible accident that amazingly did not end your career as a dancer. I mean, when you had that accident, it seemed, I'm sure even in retrospect, impossible that you not only survived it, but you survived it as a dancer, as a performer.
Well, I had a doctor that was absolutely amazing, and I treated him like he was one of my teachers. You know, I did exactly what he told me to do. I did it for him, and it was a performance, really. And if I discovered if I did exactly what he told me to do, I would survive, and that's what I did. I survived.
You did, and
on a different level, mind you. I was a different person. I had to adjust to different. I had to adjust to different rules, and I was a different person. You know, we get one life, and we have to make the best of it.
Right, and that was a horrific accident. But you know, when you're kids, I mean, my mom sent me to ballet school, to tap school. I can't tell you, there wasn't a school she didn't send me to. But I couldn't do any of that. And here you were, you know, like a lot of kids and parents who want to give everything to their kids. You were going to all this, you went to ballet school, but you were the one who got the scholarship from George Balanchine. We didn't even, when we were kids, who was that? But you and your family sort of knew, and he looked at you and pulled you and knew. And it's amazing.
Well, I was given that opportunity, and he sent a scout down to D.C. to my ballet school, and he took one look at myself and Louis Johnson and said, I would like to see them up in my studio in New York. And we did as we were told. We got on a train and with our parents, and we went. And I was a good listener. I was a good listener and a good student, and that's what I want the kids to get out of this book. You know, if they want something, they have to be passionate about it. They have to work hard at it, and Yeah, they have to give their if they're going to go as far as I went. They're going to have to give their life to it, you know.
But you had a mom too, Chita. Who understood and really got it. I mean, she knew you had. Every parent, or most parents, look at their kids and say, "Oh, did you ever see anyone like that?" But your mom sort of recognized that gift early on, and it wasn't like a bragging mother because she wanted you to, do it and work at it. But she knew and recognized it and respected it.
Well, that's very good of you to recognize that, because I give everything to my mother. She sits on one shoulder even today and whispers in one ear. But she knew that I had unchained energy, and she knew just where to put it. Now, maybe she wanted to be a dancer herself, and she recognized it in me. But she put me in that ballet school, and that was where I grew up. That's where I understood, and it was the language that I understood.
And when you were in the Broadway production, the premiere of West Side Story, Anita, that was life-changing in many ways, because suddenly this local gifted young woman was known all around the world, and life changed rapidly.
Well, that's very true, and being with Jerry Robbins was a gift. Just doing what he said was an asset. It was knowledge that we couldn't get any place else but there with Jerry Robbins. And if he screamed at us, we took it. If he was nice this day, we took it. Pardon me, we listened to him, and we did exactly what he said, and we were okay. Sorry. Okay. I'm okay now.
Good. Now, Candor and Ebb were a major part of your world and your coming of age. The songwriters, in fact, I was reading an article recently in the paper, and it was talking about 90 becoming the new 60, and which they, and all these people, including someone so important to your life, the composer John Candor, who
right.
How old is he now? 96 or
96 or 97?
Right.
One of the two, and he is as nice as he ever was. He's the kindest. He's the most gentle. I mean, he's the funniest. He sort of crawled out from underneath Freddie. He and Freddie were so totally different, and actually they had to be, because what Freddie would draw from John is something that he didn't have, and what John drew from Freddie was something that he didn't have. And I'll never forget spending the night at Freddie's and waking up to hearing them composing a song. It was just mind-boggling how they got it out. And it was just mind-boggling, fantastic. But I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
No, and all your incredible stories for example, you gave us another side of Sammy Davis Jr., with whom you had had an affair at a certain point in your life. But we couldn't stop reading all about that and about him as a person and as a talent. You depict this little guy who's like, you can't stop him from anything, and how good he was and talented.
Well, he was all of that, and he was not to be stopped. He was made to please people. That's why his craft. He played drums. He played saxophone. He played trumpet. He could tap. He could sing. He could act. I mean, he just there was no ending to his talent, and he did it all to please the audience, and that comes out in his personality too, and that's what attracted me, because when I heard that he was doing a Broadway show, I became Miss Snooty ballet dancer.
Right.
I said, what is he doing coming to Broadway? That's for Broadway dancers or singers. But little did I know that he was actually capable of doing all of it and showing us that he can.
And he did. I'm talking to Chita Rivera, whose new memoir, Chita, is available now. And you are going to come of age with Chita, with all these people who were not yet whom they ended up being, but on the road. People like Liza Minnelli, just one of the many people that Chita met on this road and hung out with. And you showed us a picture of a very complicated Liza, but very talented.
Well, I was always a fan, and when I got the opportunity to work with Liza, that was a dream come true, and there was so much to learn from her. Just watching her and being on the same stage as her. And when we did the show together, it was a great book, and it was two characters that lived with one another and learned from one another, and Liza wasn't at her best at that time, but she came out of it okay. Right,
but there's still a lot of breath holding as as you're trying to do your thing. And then Chita, with West Side Story, started hanging out with Leonard Bernstein, Jerome Robbins, Hal Prince, Sondheim. It's incredible. Worked with Gwen Verdon and Bob Fosse, with whom she was married then, when it came to Sweet Charity. And even the original Chicago, one of the greats.
Well, Chicago was certainly one of the great shows, and it's still running today. Another version of it, but it is still running. The score is still the same, and basically the staging is different, but I never dreamt that I would be standing next to one of my idols. After watching her on television when I was younger, and admiring her then, and then many years later, standing next to her, dressed exactly the same as her, and we are two dancing as one. So that was pretty exciting. That was pretty exciting.
And she was so generous, too, when a
Oh,
lot
my
of
goodness.
stars are not.
Yeah, I mean, she really did call me into her room and tell me that I had some special qualities, and I should think about those and work on a character that would fit myself. And what star would take the time to advise a performer in the privacy of her dressing room? Not many that I know. Not many that I know.
No, that's for sure. And I love reading about your daughter growing up, and when you would sometimes get a little nutsy with all the pressure on you, your daughter would say, "Mom, you're being Puerto Rican."
Well, she was saying you're being Latin. You're,
Right, you're being
getting
Latino.
fiery. Yeah, you're getting fiery, and it was just a laughing moment, you know.
And your daughter turned out to have a lot of talent, too.
Absolutely, she sings, she dances, she acts, and she looks like her father and me. I mean, it's amazing how parents suddenly look like each other when they have a kid. But she is very, very talented. Very talented.
And she was a great kid. And the two of you hung on and went through all kinds of things and did it and came out great on the other side.
Absolutely. We certainly did. We certainly did.
And that isn't so easy. So, Chita, at how old? You're almost, or you're turned 90, right?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
How did that happen?
How did that happen? I mean, that is. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You know.
I understand.
I really don't understand how it happens. It happens very, very fast, and you better get on the bandwagon before it's too late.
And do what you haven't you felt even after you finish your memoir and looking back at it, that with your alter ego, Dolores, you still accomplished everything and did everything that you wanted to do, and your mom lived long enough to see it.
Yeah. Well, that is so clever of you to decipher, because that means more to me than anything. That Mother brought me up, put me in ballet school, sent me to New York, came to my opening nights, and I will never forget receiving the Tony for A Kiss of the Spider Woman, and my mother having just passed away at that time. But she was there for most of it, and well, she was there to see it happen, and that's the least I can give to her, you know, outside of the fact that being aware of her on my shoulder.
Right, and she is
constantly.
there, and you're close, and the brothers were there all the times when you needed them?
Absolutely. Well, my my brothers and sister are there, and one is in the actor's home. He's 90. Oh, I guess he's 97, and thank God he's doing well, and the other one has grandchildren, and so you know
They're good.
They're good. They're good. They're good.
And you're good with all of this. And I remember once you were telling me about, you know, getting through these strenuous and the shows and the dancing and the need to be really physically secure in your own body. And we were talking about food, and I can recall, like, Joan Rivers would never eat anything after a very early hour, like 1 o'clock or something. And
right.
that would be it. But you had also said that you're finished eating, except for some nice water or liquid or something, by what, 3, 4 o'clock?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you still do that?
Well, yeah, I'll have a cookie at 2 o'clock.
One cookie.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't do that. I see those cookies and they say, hey, someone's got to eat me. So.
Oh my goodness, that's so true. But I had the one cookie. That's enough for me.
I'm very impressed. And you don't overeat ever, right?
No, and as a matter of fact, when we get to dinner time, that's the laugh of the day. We look at each other and say, "What's for dinner?" And it's always a drag. It's always I'm just not much of an eater, you know.
Because you were always a dancer.
Yeah. I'm afraid so.
I know. Well, I sort of envy that. I came up on the other side. If you can chew it, you're going to eat it. And we ate. But of course, we weren't working in Broadway shows and dancing our hearts out, and with rehearsal and everything. Do you still dance or try to dance on a regular basis?
Yeah. Well, I have a machine here that I ride every so often, and I have a physical therapist that comes in, and he's been off for the past week, but he went out of town. But he comes and he gets my daughter in shape and me in shape, and you know, I don't do as much as I should,
but you
or
do.
Used to, used to. But I still try to get it up.
And it works. You can still lift those legs.
Yeah, I can raise them. I'm raising them now.
Well, I can barely get out of a chair. If I sit in a comfortable chair, I keep saying, gosh, this furniture is low, but I don't think I can blame it on the furniture.
How old are you now?
Pretty old.
Okay.
Let's say, I have a friend who always used to say, between 40 and death. And I like that one.
Yeah, that's good. That's
a good one.
That's a good one.
Chita, I love the book, and you really did such a good job, because it was personal. And, I read a lot of these books, and it's fun to read, but you don't identify. But we really went along with you on this. You did a good job. And
well, I'm so glad, and I'm so glad that Patrick Pacheco assisted me on it.
He's good.
He was, yes, he's very, very good, and he enjoys it as much as I try to. But I'm so glad that you found it personable, and you were in the same room with us.
That makes a big difference.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, and it's always so nice to talk to you.
Well, thank you, Chita. I always dreamed of hanging out with Sondheim, and you made it possible. So
oh, good.
Take care of yourself. We'll talk again. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye. And I'm Joan Hamburg, and you're listening to WABC, and Chita's memoir is available wherever books are sold. You're going to love it. It's a great story, a great adventure, and it's all true. Okay, everyone, more ahead.
If you're having problems with your septic system and you're tired of spending so much money each year to have it pumped, then SeptiClean is the answer for you. SeptiClean is an advanced specially formulated blend of bacteria used in the treatment of home and commercial septic systems. The breakdown of waste in your system relies on biological activity of naturally occurring bacteria. SeptiClean restores the natural biological process in your septic system and boosts the existing biological activity. SeptiClean is completely safe on all plumbing and can help prevent expensive emergencies in pumping. SeptiClean has approximately 6 to 100 times the bacteria count of other leading off-the-shelf brands in a 1-year supply. SeptiClean comes in a water-soluble pack, which you flush down the toilet once a month with no mess or stress. Save time, money, and maintenance on your septic system. Find SeptiClean at Emporium True Value Hardware on Main Street in Sag Harbor, or visit micro-tab.com. That's micro-tabb.com. Micro-tabb.com.